Welcome to episode 77 of How About Them Huskies. I'm Connor. I'm joined by Matt and Andrew, and the Huskies look a lot different today than they did 4 or 5 days ago. We're going to cover it today. A couple of big additions over the weekend slash Monday, which isn't really the weekend, but I'm calling it over the weekend for the sake of this video. Before we get into that, breaking down who Danny Hurley and the staff got, I just want to thank you guys for the support on the videos recently. We started shooting Storrs at Rodney Purvis. Some of you may have seen us for the first time in that video and now are seeing us for the second time here. So I guess if you're new to How About the Huskies, which is something I didn't think I'd ever say, this isn't an interview podcast. This is a podcast that talks about the team only. We're not going to have any guests on. We used to have guests, but we pretty much just shifted that to shooting Storrs from now on. This is where we do team like breakdown moves like these. We talk about starting lineup predictions, in season, its previews and recaps, stuff like that. So that's this podcast, How About the Huskies. Most of you, if not all of you, know what that is. But for the select few of you who may not, this is How About the Huskies. But I mean, that shooting Storrs episode did a lot better than any of us thought it would. We thought there's a chance it might flop. It's our most watched video. All the other videos are doing well because of it. So we just want to thank you guys for that support. We're going to keep on grinding out those shooting Storrs. We got some fun ones planned over the next couple of weeks with some Huskies legends. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And now let's just get into the additions. A recruit and a transfer. Two really big names, two that could potentially be in the starting lineup. We'll talk about that at the end of this episode. But the first one, a 5-star. The second straight year we get a 5-star after Stephon Castle. Liam McNeely, we all knew there was a chance we get him when you saw he decommitted from Indiana. We have a hole at that forward position. Caravan could be gone. We're losing some guys. But we got him. We visited. He didn't set up. He didn't commit right away, but he also didn't set up any visits. So we felt kind of good because sure, it'd be nice if he visited and committed on the visit, but it took a week or so, but that's fine. But he's a guy that's going to make an impact right away. He's a lot of people say the best shooter in the class of 2024. I certainly see it in the highlights I've seen. I've watched him play a couple of times.
Yeah, McNeely's he's a sharpshooter. I mean, the guy that we are about to talk about next is also a sharpshooter, but McNeely's like a mix of every 3-point shooter we've ever had. Like, I'm really excited for this kid. He played, like Connor said, at Montfort with Cooper Flag, and I'm really excited for him because I think he's the perfect Husky. I think he's gonna fit into this program perfectly, and I can't wait to watch him play for us in the fall.
Yeah, and you mentioned he went to Montverde. Playing with Cooper Flag, this only not only brings a great player, but it also brings more pedigree into the program. You love to have players coming in like that who are historically winners. Obviously, they went like 33-0 last season at Montverde and won their state championship. Just a great overall season. And if you can have two guys like that, like McNeely and then Flag, I mean that just kind of shows that he's willing to sacrifice. He's willing to play along, with someone who's possibly better than him or, someone who is the Batman. But, I have a feeling he's going to come and he's going to be our Batman in our way. He's going to be, one of our leaders. So I'm really happy about that. Not just the fact that he's a great player, but where he's coming from and what he showed in high school.
I wish he had 40 or so more games with Cooper Flag, but that's unfortunately not going to be the case. But yeah, I caught him a couple of times. I was watching, and Montverde, they won the high school national championship. I was watching that game, not for them because Paul the Sixth and Isaiah Abraham were playing, so I was tuned in there. But it happened to be watching McNeely as well, and he really hit some big shots in that game. And I mean, I'm not too familiar with the whole high school like landscape at the top. I know there's all these different classics. I know that's the Chipotle Nationals we're talking about there, but the Jordan Brand Classic, which has all the top prospects, top players in the class, he won MVP of that game not too long ago. There's a lot of stars. Flag, both Rutgers guys. There's a bunch of stars in that game. He won MVP. So we're getting a really good guy, a guy that I think it's going to be up for debate because there's no clear starting lineup for this team. He could be in it. Should he be in it? Probably. Could he not? He's a freshman. Who knows? But he's going to make an impact right away. And I'm just really excited to see him. He reminds me a lot of Caravan because he's 6'7", Caravan 6'8". They're both very good shooters. That's their strength. So maybe he's replacing Caravan. If they play together, I apologize to everyone we play next year because it's going to be really tough to guard. But yeah, I'm just really excited for Liam McNeely.
And I mean, imagine if Caravan comes back. We have, again, one of the best starting fives in the whole country. It will feature a decent amount of freshmen, though, more than we're used to. I want to kind of wait to talk about who we're about to talk about, but with Noel and McNeely, you bring back Caravan and then Terrace Reed coming in at center. It's going to be, a very good lineup.
Think we hit the nail on the head there. Not much. The McNeely news was Friday. It's by the time you're seeing this is Tuesday. So you've seen everything there is. He's a guy. I'll reiterate it one last time. Instant impact. He's a guy who's gonna should average double figures. Not crazy. Maybe a similar points per game to Castle. He ended up around 11 or 12. McNeely has the talent to be a guy that puts up 15, 16, but in our offense, we don't need a guy like that. We can be content with a bunch of guys averaging right around that double figure mark like last year. But moving on from McNeely, the weekend, we had a lot of big pickups. The literal weekend of Saturday and Sunday was pretty quiet. There was a lot of wondering, will it be today? Will it be now? But nothing happened on the official weekend. But get to Monday today when we're recording tomorrow, when you see this, the Huskies got their second transfer of the class, and they're no offense to Terrace Reed, but on paper, their best transfer of the class so far, Aidan Mahaney out of St. Mary's. He's a guy who was a very, very good freshman for the Gales. His freshman year, we played them in the tournament in the round of 32. I'm sure you all remember. You probably don't remember the details of that game, but we all remember that game happened against St. Mary's. Mahaney had 9 points, which led the team for St. Mary's. That was not a good game for them. But he's a guy, he averaged 13 as a freshman. Everyone expected him to take this massive sophomore year leap. He was in those conversations like him, Klingon, all these freshmen that are going to be great sophomores. He was a very good player last year. He averaged pretty much the same points per game, which is still 13, 14 points per game, leading a team to the tournament. So you can't complain there. But he's a guy, he's 6'3". He's more of a ball handler than a guy we're going to talk about in a second who most likely won't be coming to the Huskies. We're also trying to get in the portal, but I keep on saying I'm excited for these guys, but I really am. He looks like a guy that is a perfect Husky. He's going to play hard. I don't know if defense is his strong suit, but a summer working with Dan Hurley and the staff, his defense will certainly improve. I'm not worried about that at all. I just can't wait to see him get to work.
This was the one I wanted. I mean, Barea would have been nice, but I really wanted Mahaney because he reminds me a lot of Hawkins in a way, just a fast, flashy guard who can handle and shoot the ball. So I'm really excited for this kid because all along he was the one I wanted. Him and McNeely, honestly, were the two that I wanted in just some big whoever it had to be. But I really wanted Mahaney, and I'm really happy we got him because I think he's going to fit in perfectly here.
You mentioned the Hawkins replacement last year. We were kind of curious as to what was going to happen after Hawkins left. Obviously, that national championship team was something else, but we brought in Cam Spencer, who, surpassed all expectations and, is one of our top scorers and one of our best guys this year. And, now you lose Cam Spencer. So now, you're left with this hole. And I have a feeling that, Mahaney is going to kind of slide right in there and kind of take over that role that Hurley has kind of created as, he's not the flashiest 15 points a night, but he's going to, hit them when it matters, and he's going to effectively score them.
Yeah, I'm sure that had to have been pitched to him. You look at what Hawkins did, Cam did, that can be you. If Hurley told me that, I certainly would be going to Storrs and playing for him. But yeah, I mean, Kobe Brea, as Andrew mentioned, was the other guy we're kind of talking about here. The Dayton transfer who shot pretty much 50% from 3 last year on 6 attempts, which is insane. Best shooter in the country. His top 5 was us, UNC, Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky, which is pretty much the 5 blue bloods right now, give or take. And it looks like he's going to be headed to Kentucky because he said he was only taking visits to us and Duke, and then he canceled the Duke visit. So everyone's going nuts. Like, if he's visiting 2 teams and one he's not visiting, he's coming here, right? No, I mean, it looked like he was, but he's not going to. There's a tweet a few hours ago from Matt Norlander of CBS Sports. It says some notable portal news here connected to multiple blue bloods. After landing St. Mary's transfer Aiden Mahaney, I'm told Yukon's no longer recruiting top-tier Dayton transfer Kobe Brea. All indications are Dan Hurley has finalized his backcourt/wing group and isn't adding anyone else. So, more or less, the team we see now is pretty much what it's going to be, except for Alex Caravan, who was pretty much a 50-50 decision in the NBA draft. Should he stay or should he go? One of the guy, Hassan Diarra, hasn't formally came out with an announcement, but everywhere and everyone's saying he'll be back. We expect him to be back. And playing for the Huskies, going for that three-peat. But yeah, no Kobe Bryant, it seems, and it looks like he's going to Kentucky, which let him. He's a good player. He's going to fit well in no longer Calipari's system, Mark Pope system. But yeah, I mean, any last thoughts on Mahaney? I mean, a guy who he's a proven winner. He's gotten to the tournament twice with St. Mary's. Like you mentioned, Matt McNeely has proven he can win. Mahaney, that's going to be a tongue twister all year. Where it sucks that they're in the same episode. Mahaney, McNeely. But Mahaney is a proven winner. He got to the tournament twice. He just ran into us once. This past year, he ran into Grand Canyon, who not a team of destiny, but they were a very tough 12 seed. But yeah, all in all, Mahaney, McNeely, and Terrace Reed, that's pretty much our off season. I mean, Caravan would be a massive ad if he decides to come back. We'll talk about that. He has about a month, I believe, to decide, maybe even more. So that'll be a discussion for a later date. But I think we can go into have a little fun. And this is going to be a shorter episode because it's just updates. There's no real, I mean, it's important stuff, but it's nothing real deep. So let's do some starting lineup predictions. Let's go. We did it by position last time. Let's go around this time and just compare. And you guys want to kick us off what you think on April 29th, which the season is going to start in over 6 months, but let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start us off. I have a feeling that we're gonna start Noel at the 1. Last year we won with the freshman point guard. I feel like we could do it again. Plus, I don't really feel like there's many other options outside of Hassan Diarra. But I feel like he's just kind of like our best bet there. At the shooting guard, you got to go with Mahaney. I got not much competition in the backcourt. It's kind of like this three-headed monster here, and then you kind of go to small forward, and then you got to go with McNeely. I feel like it's just so obvious the center position where it gets up, but small forward, we'll go McNeely. Hypothetically, if Caravan comes back, I feel like he goes there, but if he doesn't come back, he goes to the NBA. I feel like we see Stewart McNeely at 3-4, and then I think we're gonna start Reed at the 5 because Sampson's not physically there. Sampson isn't that physical body that's gonna play 30 minutes, but Sampson's gonna be a bench piece that's gonna play 15 to 20 minutes too. So I that would be it. Noel, Mahaney, McNeely, Caravan, Reed. If Caravan leaves, it'll be Stewart, McNeely, Reed.
I agree with Matt in everything except the center position. I think Sampson's going to start. I think it's hard to start a transfer at the center position, especially in the Big East. And Sampson's been here for this is what his 3rd year, I think. Yeah, this is his 3rd year. So it was his 3rd year, going to be his 4th year. And I think he's going to get the nod because he's obviously proved that he can be good. He's got some stuff to work on, obviously, but I think that with the hypothetical stuff with Caravan, it's either going to be McNeely Caravan or McNeely Stewart. The guards are obviously Mahaney, Noel, but I think that Sampson's going to end up getting the nod at the starting center position for this season.
I agree with Sampson starting. Before I talk about my lineup, I've seen some crazy ones out on Twitter and social media today. I saw one that has Jalen Stewart starting at shooting guard. This is one that broke down position by position. I mean, some people shouldn't be predicting lineups. I mean, maybe it's me after I say my prediction because I know sometimes I try to be different or one of us tries to be different to not be similar to the others, but I believe my lineup, which is different than yours, is that's what I think it'll be. I agree. I guess the one constant is McNeely and then Stewart if Caravan goes because I feel like McNeely would start over Stewart even though Jalen was here last year. It's just the 5-star. I can't imagine him not starting, kind of like Castle last year. So I'll say no Caravan. So my forwards are McNeely and Stewart. I think Sampson starts over Reed. I agree with Andrew's point. He's been here 4 years. I think it's gonna be more of a literal 20-minute split, 20 minutes for each of them because they're two complete different looks, kind of like we've had the past few years with Donovan and Sonogo and then Donovan and Sampson. It's two complete different looks to throw teams off. The backcourt's what gets interesting. I mean, Matt, you said Noel and Mahaney. I I don't think it's either of them, and it's tough because we have so it's good. It's good we don't know who's gonna start. If it was clear, that might be a problem, but I just feel like Hassan Diarra, if he comes back, he won 6th man of the year last year. He knows the offense. He's earned that spot to be the starting point guard. And then I feel like the staff is still in love with the guy solo ball. He was here last year. He could take that freshman to sophomore lead. Not quite, maybe that Jordan Hawkins level, maybe not a lottery pick, but I could certainly see it if he gets the reps. I mean, Mahaney's certainly up for it's that last spot of the two is between Ball and Mahaney. I think Solo has the edge because he was here last year. Mahaney's a guy, if he doesn't start, he's gonna still play 25 minutes a game and be near a double-digit scorer. He's just that's just who he is. He's not gonna we've had really good benches the past couple of years with Haas and Stewart and Johnson last year, and obviously the year before, Deep Joey, Naheem, forgetting Haas again and Donovan. So whoever starts, whoever comes off the bench, it's going to be fine. But I think our backcourt as of now is Diarra Ball.
Yeah, I love Diarra. Obviously, he's a fantastic player. I just can't see that he's a six man. That's what he is, and I feel like that's not a problem. I feel like that's perfect. I feel like he understands that. It's just the fact that if you start Diarra, then you're looking at two guys in the lineup who can't spread the floor. I don't. Well, Diarra can spread the floor. It's just not exactly what he's known for. He'll shoot at a 35% clip, but having Noel out there kind of gives you more options on offense, which I feel like Hurley loves to start the games hot, opposed to if you had Diarra out there at 6'3-ish, 6'2-ish, and then you have Reed out there or Sampson either. They can't shoot. So I feel like that would kind of make things difficult. I feel like if you throw Noel out there with Mahaney, with Caravan, and I mean Stewart, is come and go. I feel like that just gives you more options. I feel like that just kind of opens the floor for you. And I feel like that's kind of what Hurley's, put his cap on over the past few years, is just kind of giving defenses looks that they're not typically used to.
Whatever this backcourt ends up being, it's going to look a lot different than it has the past 2 years. Look at 23, Newton 6'5", Hawkins is 6'4", I believe. Then last year you got Newton and Castle 6'5", 6'6", Cam 6'4". But I mean, Diarra, like you mentioned, he's 6'3", Mahaney 6'3", Noel, I should know his height. I think he's like literal 6'5", 5'11". He's a small guy, but Ed Solo's, I believe, 6'4", maybe even 6'3". So it's a smaller backcourt. I guess a normal backcourt compared to a lot of other teams. We've had a luxury, but it's going to look a lot different. I can see the point there. DR is not known for his shooting. He did pick it up last year. He hit some clutch ones. He had some big ones when it mattered most, but I just don't see Hurley starting two freshmen if they deserve it and earn it from June 1st until November 1st. I mean, by all means, I'm not gonna. I've said this a lot, and I feel like we all agree we're not gonna question anything that Dan Hurley does with anything. He's won us back-to-back national championships, so there's no reason to question him. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I don't think Noel's gonna impact us as much as people think, but I kind of feel that. I mean, everyone's saying he's going to start over DR, including you, Matt. I'm not singling you out. I've seen it everywhere. I don't know. I feel like he really likes the guys that have been in the program and follow his process, and that's how I feel. But we'll break down the last few guys. I guess we haven't mentioned Isaiah Abraham, Jaden Ross, two guys that could maybe even sneak in for a couple of minutes. Who knows? Abraham's a great shooter. He's a big body. He's like 6'7", 6'8". Ross is a little smaller, but also right around that 6'6", 6'7". So they're two similar guys. It's going to be unfortunate that probably both of them aren't going to be in the rotation. It's just we're really deep. It's been one of our things the past few years, and yeah, also Yusuf Sangare, but I feel like he's kind of our third center. He was our third center last year, third center this year, but good to see all those guys back. I mean, we are releasing this 2 days before the transfer portal deadline, so this could mean nothing. But as of now, it looks like everyone besides Apostolos who entered the portal is going to return, all the freshmen. So I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see that coming, but it's here, and I can't wait to get to work with them. I think that'll just about do it, unless you guys have anything else. Matt, you got one more thing?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, this is pretty off topic, but I thought it was pretty cool today. Doc Rivers was in media, and they were asking him about Andre Jackson Jr. And Doc Rivers had some interesting things to say about him. Obviously, he hasn't played that much this season, especially under Doc Rivers. Under Adrian Griffin, he was much more of a factor, but Doc Rivers came in and he stopped playing, and everyone was like, why? But they asked Doc Rivers today about Andre Jackson, and what Doc Rivers had to say was basically just that he wants to compete. And he said in quotes, he wants to win and he doesn't do anything for himself. Everything about him, you can tell he was at Yukon and they have that team thing because everything he does is nothing about him. It's always about the team, and that's a pleasure to coach. So this is kind of what I was talking about towards the end of the year with Stefan Castle and how Stefan Castle, I feel, is a huge kind of stepping stone for Yukon basketball because him coming in and playing 1 year, winning a national championship, being one of the most important players on that team. I mean, it's just becoming more and more obvious that Yukon is definitely a place to go if you want to go to the NBA. Obviously, we had Rodney Purvis on shooting Storrs, and we were talking about how guys from 2015 to 2020 weren't sticking in the NBA. Amita Brima, Rodney Purvis himself, other guys, Daniel Hamilton. So it's really cool to see now that this kind of Yukon culture, this Dan Hurley culture, is taking a big part of eventually going to the NBA, and that's how you get great players in. So I have a feeling that just with this whole system with Dan Hurley, I don't think we're going anywhere for a very long time.
Yeah, the winning the back-to-back certainly helps. It's quite a recruiting pitch to it. I guess we pick and choose our spots with 5 stars. You look at, I guess, formerly Kentucky, now it's going to be Arkansas. It's weird to say. Arkansas, Duke, they all like to offer every 5-star. Get a bunch of them. This is even going even more off topic. A guy we were really in on, Pat Ngongba, he's probably not going to play at Duke at all this year, but he went to Duke because it's Duke. But yeah, back to Andre. I watched that game last night with the Bucks. It was an unfortunate situation for the team. Giannis out, Dame out. Bobby Portis gets tossed like 5 or 6 minutes in, so they're really depleted. But Andre had an Andre game. He had, I believe, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, just impacting the game. And if Hurley can get more guys to be like that, I know you can't just get guys to be like that. That's kind of who Andre is, but showing these guys like, hey, you can stick in the NBA, you can have impact in a playoff team in the playoffs like Andre. Look at Andre. I mean, it goes a really long way, and I feel like you mentioned the 2015 to 20 range where there was not a lot of Huskies sticking in the NBA. I don't think we're gonna have that problem much longer.
And Andre just doesn't care. For like all the stuff that he's been through this season, he hasn't said anything. So, you can really tell that, he's just there to win. He wants to be part of the team. And I have a feeling that, the rest of the guys are going to be just like that. Who wouldn't want that on their team, And even though Andre Jackson, his stats don't pop off the board, I have a feeling he's going to be around for a very long time just because of his work ethic. Obviously a guy on the Chicago Bulls, Adama Sanogo, is the same exact thing. He doesn't play much, but he doesn't really seem to care. And when he does play, he makes the most of it. He does all he can do. So, just being able to, keep your head down, understand that it's bigger than you, and, just willing your team, not just willing yourself to be the best you can be, even throughout all this turmoil. It's really impressive.
And it's not only Andre. Jordan had his stints where he started and then was on the bench and didn't play for a long time. Same thing with Adama in the G League and then going back up. So we just, at the end of the day, we have the hardest workers, and that's the end of that story, honestly.
I don't know if we formally credited him, but Adama Sanogo was all rookie team in the G League, which the G League is a lot of rookies. So that's really impressive to see. But last point here, then we'll wrap up. You look at our current guys that are going to the draft, and you look at NBA teams. They look at Andre Jackson, who's impacting the Bucks in the little ways, playing tough D. I see all these clips online, him locking up Halliburton, him doing whatever he can on Pascal Siakam, who's quite a mismatch for him in this series. But if these teams like, oh, this guy on the Bucks was with Yukon last year and won a title, and so we have this guy who was in the same role, Castle. Let's take a flyer on him. Top 3, who knows? But that's a bad example. But my point is, if these guys are like guys that are well liked in the NBA, guys that play hard, the name sticks in the NBA program wise. That's why all these sure, the Kentucky guys have talent, but there's a reason Kentucky guys, there's been 50 something of them in the NBA. It's because the program name, they always get 1 or 2 lottery picks a year. It's just UConn's on their way to that, and I can't wait to see it, especially with some of the guys we have on the team right now. Liam McNeely's projected lottery 2025. Wouldn't surprise me if a guy like Solo Ball ends up drafted at some point. Noel, even Abraham. Look at his build. It might take a little bit, but we got a lot of NBA players in the future at Yukon. I'm really excited.
And it's all about that mentality. Obviously, the late great Kobe Bryant was all about mentality. I feel like Dan Hurley has a little bit of that Mamba mentality in him. Work harder than everybody else, be the best, don't settle for any less. And I feel like just instilling this mindset. We were talking about guys like Andre Jackson. Like, I mean, he's a bench role player, and he is already instilling this sort of energy into the team. Imagine if a guy came into the NBA and started at center, like Donovan Clingan, and was able to kind of preach this mentality to the rest of his teammates. I feel like that would just be, undeniable. I feel like that's just something that you need on your squad. Stephon Castle coming in, doing the same thing. It's valuable. And I feel like, you could be a good player, but if you don't have that mindset, then what does it really matter? So it's great seeing them, have this mindset, maybe instill it on some new franchises and, get some franchises, some championships.
After seeing the NFL draft last week, I can't wait for the NBA draft. It's all there, guys. We got a little less than 2 months. I mean, it's kind of like the final closing with this title team. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I should know this. Did they break up the first round, second round? I know they were talking about that. Did that happen? You guys know? I can look it up after this.
What are we talking about?
Like for the draft, like I know there were
Oh,
rumors they're
yes.
gonna do first round one day, second round. I don't know if that happened, which
Yes, it
they are
happened,
doing
and
that.
it's done. Yes.
Oh God. So a fringe first round guy like Alex Caravan, if he doesn't go 30, he's got to wait 24 hours. But that's dumb. But I mean, I thought we were done, but that's an important talking about the future of this program. All the guys like Andre, I completely forgot. I watched most of the game last night. I forgot it happened. I was going to mention it, so I'm glad Matt jumped in there. But now I think we're officially done here with episode 77 of How About Them Huskies. And the next time you see us or hear from us, it'll most likely be episode 2 of Shooting Storrs. We haven't filmed it yet, so we're not going to say a name in case it falls through, but it should go through, and it's a name that a lot of you guys are going to like. A little bit of a throwback. I'll give a hint there. Not too much of a throwback, though, but it's going to be really exciting. I hope it does just as good, if not better, than the last Shooting Storrs. I feel like this is an idea. I mentioned this in Shooting Stars. We had this idea in the fall, but it was too much to start a podcast at the same time. The season was starting, so we kind of put it on the shelf, but it's here now. And judging by you guys enjoying it, looks like it's here to stay. So stay tuned for that. Next How About Them Huskies episode, I mean, we probably won't do one when DR officially announces he'll come back because we've known that the whole time, but we'll think of something fun to do maybe next week or the week after. We got to find something to fill the next 6 months. So look forward to that. Look forward to Shooting Stores probably this weekend or early next week. And yeah, thanks for watching.